And in the land of Ontario, there rose to power one named Doug, brother of Rob, who came forth as a man of the people, declaring his wisdom in the ways of business and common sense. And the people, weary of the reigns before him, looked upon Doug with hope, saying, "Perhaps he shall bring forth prosperity and cut away the burdens of our taxes and waste." Yet as Doug took the seat of power, it became clear to many that his reign would be marked by gaffes, missteps, and scandal. In the early days of his rule, Doug declared unto the people,
"Behold, I bring you buck-a-beer."
And he proclaimed that this was a triumph for the common man, a promise fulfilled to bring the people cheaper ale. Yet the brewers of the land murmured, for they would not yield their prices, saying, "To sell thus would drain our coffers." And so buck-a-beer became a gaffe among the people, a promise half fulfilled, and they laughed, saying, "Is this the prosperity he bringeth? A cheap beer that none doth wish to brew?" And it came to pass that Doug sought to balance the coffers of Ontario, and in his wisdom, he looked upon the realms of education and health, declaring that they must be cut. And the teachers and nurses cried out, saying, "Why doth he take from the schools and the hospitals? Are these not pillars of a fair society?" Yet Doug heeded them not, and he spake, saying, "There is waste, and I shall cleanse it from the land." But the people witnessed the layoffs, the crowded classrooms, and the ailing hospitals, and they murmured, saying, "He taketh from what we need most and giveth little in return." Thus his cuts became a scandal, and the people's trust was shaken, for they wondered if he understood the needs of those he claimed to serve. Now, there was a place called the greenbelt, a swath of land set aside to protect the waters, trees, and creatures of Ontario. And Doug had once declared unto the people, "I shall protect the greenbelt. I shall protect the greenbelt, for it is sacred and shall not be touched." Yet in the later days of his reign, it was revealed that Doug's ministers had made plans to open the greenbelt to developers. And when the people heard of this, there was an uproar, for they cried, "Doth he betray the very land he swore to protect?" And investigations were called, and it was revealed that many of his ministers were tied to developers, and the scandal grew, casting a dark shadow over his promises. And in those days, a great plague swept over the land, and Doug was called to lead the people through a time of sickness and fear. Yet his decisions were oft erratic, for one day he would close the doors of business, and the next he would open them. And the people grew confused, saying, "Doth he not know his own mind? One day he is stern, the next day he is lenient." And Doug brought forth many mandates, yet they were sometimes half-hearted and unclear, and many accused him of favoring the wealth of friends over the health of the people. Thus did his handling of the plague bring forth both gaffes and scandal, for the people saw in him an unsteady hand, unsure of how to lead in a time of crisis. And it was often seen that when Doug found himself in trouble, he would distract the people with promises of populist decree. He spake of license plate stickers, of slashing tolls, of returning freedoms, and the people were off swayed, if only for a season. Yet as each promise passed, the people saw that the relief was but temporary, a mere gesture, while greater problems lay unsolved. And some said, "He knoweth well the art of distraction, for he giveth us small gifts to hide the greater faults." And thus did his misdirections carry him through many storms, though the wiser among the people saw through his gestures. And as the years wore on, many among the people began to question, "Is Doug truly the leader we sought?" For though he spake oft of being for the common folk, his deeds showed favor toward the wealthy and the powerful, and scandals, gaffes, and misdirections multiplied, until even those who had once supported him grew weary. And so the people of Ontario watched with heavy hearts, hoping that the day might come when their province would be led with clarity, wisdom, and integrity. For they knew that while Doug's reign was marked with promises and populism, the needs of the land required much more than mere words. Please subscribe, comment, and like for more videos.